welcome back. Thank you so much for joining me today. I wanted to go over reselling in 2022. This is a very pivotal year in the reselling business because of what we just experienced in the last 2 years. So if you haven't already, please take a moment to subscribe below. That really helps my channel, gets this viewed by more people, and that way I can keep producing more content. Basically, 2022 has changed how a lot of resellers are thrifting, how they had to look for stuff, how they had to source stuff, how thrift stores have handled the pandemic. It's definitely changed a lot of things. So one thing in particular is I know Goodwill definitely created their own eBay. They've always had an eBay. They've had it for a while, but they took it up a notch with the pandemic and with the shutdown. So because of that, my particular Goodwill no longer keeps the case of the high valued items. They used to keep video games, consoles, other fancier electronics, just higher end stuff in the case behind the checkout stand. And now they don't do that anymore. They don't even keep it in the store. I never find a console at my Goodwill anymore. And I know it's because they've shipped it out to their online business to go on their own eBay. The thrift store in the area, I've done a video on them before, and they've also started their own eBay. They still have the counter with the expensive stuff, but they have started their own eBay. And the trick with any of these is to always know what they don't know. So that seems kind of tricky. So they can't know every niche, every industry, every item that's in their thrift store. They can't. It's going to be based on the education of the person that's listing it. So if they've got 4 people in the back that are tagging everything and they don't know golf clubs, or if that particular thrift store has a set price on golf clubs, you go for those golf clubs because they're going to be a set price. They're going to be undervalued. That's what you're going for. When these thrift stores know that something such as a PlayStation is worth $100, they're going to price it at $100. You're going to leave that behind. So the trick is to learn what these thrift stores don't know. And that's going to be even across estate sales. I've noticed that there's certain estates that if they're run by a younger generation, there's these 2 girls that have a thrift that are roughly my age, and they know higher end electronics, so they've overpriced it. But when you go over to their sporting goods, you go over to their kitchen stuff, you go over to anything that they don't know, it's underpriced. So it really is learning how these places price it. So the root of all of it is sourcing where you're buying everything low enough. If you're buying it low enough, it doesn't matter what the item is worth because you've bought it low enough. And if you're buying something for $1 and it flips for $20, that's still a win. If you bought something for $10 and it flips for $100, it's a win. And you have room in there to negotiate. So if they're making offers on something, you have it listed at $100, they offered $90, you know you only paid $10 for that item. Get it out of your store. We're not in the business to hoard things. We're not in the business to hold on to it. We're in the business to sell. So take those offers. If they're reasonable, take the offers and get it out of your store. Because again, if you know you bought it low enough, it doesn't matter how much it sells for. So going back to sourcing, the number one trick that I tell everybody is source and sell the things that you own. Start with that. Always start with that. That is free inventory, and it's stuff that you don't use anymore. Right now, there's a big trend on minimalizing and the minimalist lifestyle and decluttering. That's all a very big trend right now, and myself, I've jumped on some of it. You wouldn't know when it comes to the eBay store, but the rest of my household, I have been decluttering like nobody's business. One place that I did was my pantry. My pantry had, I am not exaggerating, at least 25 to 30 small appliances. I didn't think any of these were going to be worth anything. However, I also had nice taste when it came to kitchen appliances and those small appliances. I liked KitchenAid, I liked Cuisinart, I liked Ninja. I like the better brands. I figure if you're going to buy it, you might as well buy the one that you want and the one that's going to last. So while clearing it out, I found my Ninja cooker. It's a crock pot, stove top. It's like a 3-in-1 Ninja cooker. And that ended up being worth almost $100. So I have it listed a little high. It's local, but I'll take offers. So even if I get $80 for that, it's been sitting in my pantry collecting dust. I have a Cuisinart panini press. Same thing. It's worth over $50. It's collecting dust. I'm not using it. So clean out those pantries, clean out those closets, clean out those kids' bedrooms of old toys, and see what you have on stock. Because the best inventory is free inventory. The next best inventory is always going to be just buying it low. Make sure that when you are buying something, that you're not treating this as a gamble. It's not a gamble. There's simple ways to look up what that stuff is worth, and knowing what you're paying for it shows if it's worth it. You want to make sure that it sells, so that's going to be your sell-through rate. When you're looking something up, take a note of how much the item is available and how much of that item has sold. You're always looking, the sweet spot is at least 50%. So if there's 100 available, you're looking to have at least 50 sold. If you're getting closer to 100%, even better. 50 available, 50 sold. And if you can get over that, if you can double sell-through rate, you're seeing that there's 50 available, 100 sold, you know it's going to go fast. Grab that item. Only if the price is right. Because if that price is not leaving you enough room to pay for the shipping, should you either list it as free shipping, or should the shipping rates not be correct, if the shipping rates go up, there's some variables. So you want to leave a little bit of wiggle room for your shipping cost. But eBay fees, cost of goods, and saving for income taxes. So if you're only going to make $10 on the item, it's not worth it. You've also got to pay for your time. I like to make at least 2 to 3 times what I'm paying for it. That's kind of my general rule when it's a higher end item. If I'm only paying $1 or $2, I'm happy making $20. But if I'm paying $10 or $20, I want to make 50, 60 plus on it. And that's just my business model. As you're getting better at this and you're learning what you want to sell, how comfortable you are with shipping, as you get into the business, you'll learn how much your time is worth. How much is 2 or 3 hours out on garage sales in the morning, looking at thrift stores 2, 3, 4 times a week, how much that time is worth. Because I know for me, my time is pretty precious. I've got young kids, I take care of a household, and run other businesses, so I've got to make sure that my time is worth it. I don't want to be sourcing for 3 hours to make $20. So definitely take that into consideration. Again, just saying that it's not a gamble. When you're looking at how much it sells for, when you're looking at what you're paying for it, don't take risks. There's no reason to. You have the numbers directly in front of you, how much it sells for, how many of that item sells. There's no reason to take a gamble. Take your emotions out of it. If you're seeing something, you're like, oh, I love this item so much, but they want too much for it, leave it behind. Someone else is going to love that item. There's no reason to buy it because you like it. You're buying it because it sells. And I know early on in the game, I probably bought buckets of stuff because I thought I liked it. I thought other people would like it. That means nothing. If nobody is buying it, it's not worth anything. I mean, it's as simple as that. It doesn't matter how much you love the item. If no one's buying it, no one's going to pay for it. So buy the items because they sell. Another thing is to learn your niche. Learn things that you already know. So I've said you're going to go through your house, you're going to clean out your closets, your pantries, your basements, because those are things you already own, you already have paid for it. The other thing is to learn, as you're doing that, the different categories that you like to list in. So I've always loved electronics. Always. My husband is a total tech nerd, tech geek, and I've always been as well. So that's something we've always had in common. He loves video games, so I've learned about video games more over the years and the different consoles. The smart remotes. I never would have known what these were beforehand. So I'm learning more categories as I'm going along, and that's where the value is. So smart remotes, for example, those Logitech Harmony remotes, they're discontinued. Logitech isn't making those anymore. They are worth serious looking up right now. Some of them, they're called like the Harmony One, I think, and it has a hub and sensors, and it was normally a $200 remote. They're still worth close to $200 because they're discontinued. So definitely learn your niche, but always be open to learn other niches. So if you're passionate about sports, start looking at the sporting goods. Look up bats. Look up tennis rackets. Look up golf clubs. Look up pool cues. Look up things that you are passionate about and you enjoy looking at. Because you're going to get burnt out really quick if you're not enjoying what you're doing. I love what I'm doing. I love going to thrift stores. I love talking to people at garage sales. I love looking up new items. So as you're learning your niche and you're learning that one category that you love, you're passionate about, and you already know a lot about, you can then start diving in and learning things about other categories that maybe you don't know as much about. Start looking up VCR players when you're at these garage sales or thrift stores. Start looking up toys. Start looking up games, video games. I mean, it's endless, the type of categories that you can look up. But always look up something new. When I started, that was my rule of thumb. When I would go to a thrift store, I would always look up at least 5 new items, something that I never would have known. So you're going through, your eyes naturally go to the category you enjoy. I go right to that back wall where all the electronics are. But then I started going through the kitchen aisle, seeing the different pots and pans, seeing the different silverware, seeing the small appliances, and just start looking them up. Because that's the way you start building up your knowledge base, is when you take the time to learn something new. And by taking that couple minutes to learn that category, then you know, oh, that's something I need to keep an eye out. Oh, I like golf clubs. That's something that I can easily look up. Because electronics, that's one thing I love about it, is how easy it is to look it up. They always give you a barcode. They always give you, not a barcode, a model number. So putting that model number into eBay, and it's easy as can be. There's no variations on colors and shades and different buttons and whatever else it could have. It's got a model number, and that's the item you're looking up. And that's what it's selling for. There's no gray area. So that's why I love electronics as much as I do. I do know that a lot of people that I've talked to about this, their biggest fear is shipping. So they like going to the garage sales, they're fine looking stuff up, but they don't want to ship it. It just scares them. And what I have to say about that is start small. Start with items that are easy to ship. Because if you start out with something that's fragile and it breaks, I mean, that's going to crush you right away. So start with something that is fairly easy to ship. Get some bubble wrap. I started out with the U-Haul packing paper, the U-Haul bubble wrap. Post office has free boxes, but you do need to use the post office when you're shipping it using their boxes. And if you have an eBay store, more than the starter store, you get a $25 credit towards the eBay supply store. So that can buy your boxes. That can buy your poly mailers. I also tell all my friends and family what I do. So they're always saving those Amazon boxes, those Walmart boxes, every store that they go to, they're saving me their boxes. And that's saved me so much. So tell your neighbors, tell your friends, tell your family to start saving those boxes, because we're all shopping online more than we ever did before. So reuse, recycle. I also save boxes around the house when I get, I used a toilet paper box. It was, I think, a VCR, so I needed a bigger box. And I had just gotten a shipment of toilet paper from Amazon, and it comes in a big box. I easily use that. They don't care what it comes in. I'm not shipping it in some tainted box. It just says Charmin toilet paper on it. But reuse, recycle, that is the name of this game. That's what we're doing in reselling, is recycling all these old goods. So if you liked what you saw today, I really appreciate that subscribe button. Hit the notification so you don't miss anything on the next videos. And just a quick shameless plug, if you want to learn more about how to sell on eBay, I do have a book on the Amazon store called eBay Selling for Beginners. It's got all of this plus a lot more tips and tricks. So check out the link down in the description. And thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day.